across my entire body. And that resulted in me having a severed arm, a disjointed hip, and a disjointed spine that was bent inward, and a dislocated hip that caused me to wobble and bounce when I walked. So, getting these visions from God in my room were loving and kind and entertaining and escape, and I welcomed them. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I became 18, they started telling me that I was Christ and that I had to go into the world and tell that to the world. And I really didn't want to do that. I thought that might be like crazy.
Right.
And if you want to just switch shoes with me for a minute, and consider doing it yourself, right? At any rate, the visions showed me a lot. And in 30 years of radio and newspaper interviews, not one person has ever asked me, what did the visions tell you? And I'm like flabbergasted, because I would have thought that would have been like question number one, but it has never happened. So they're in the books to some degree. But answering your question was, I eventually fled from my home and hit the streets with absolutely nothing. And I ended up at one point in Key West, and I got a job, and I got an apartment, and I started putting my life together, and I was thinking I had a chance in life. And when I'd been in Ocala, I got a vision of Armageddon, unless I accepted what God asked of me and went forward into the world as Christ. And so I made a compromise and said, tell you what, I'll write a book, and I'll try to put down a lot of the stuff that you've told me, and I'll send the book into the world, right? And that way I won't have to do it. It'll be the same thing, but instead of, they can burn the book and they won't have to attack me, right? And so I'm not big on crucifixion, and I didn't think that I would be exactly welcomed. So I was writing the book, and I got to live my life, and everything was going normally, sort of. For the most part, I was living a normal life. And I could do some things psychically, which is not related to weather, but there were things I could do. And so I examined the paranormal and tarot and spirits and a lot of UFOs, apparently. And there came a time when I finished the book, and I said, great, now all I have to do is polish it up and try to get a publisher. And I was walking past Catholic Church in Key West, Mary started to see, and I got hit with this big vision from God that showed me two fingers in two different places pushing red buttons, and missiles were going off, and it was going to be Armageddon because humanity was generating more negativity than positive, and it was time to just stop it and start again or not. But that this experiment was done. And there seemed to be some sort of evacuation going on, this and that. And so I asked for a little bit of time to think about it, and the vision had hit me about 5 in the afternoon, and somewhere around 10 that night, I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And I did. And I've been doing it ever since. So I made a compromise with God, and I said, I will say I am Christos, which to me is the spirit of that was manifest through Jesus, perhaps among others. And so...
Is that similar to like a Christ consciousness?
Pardon?
Is that similar to like a Christ consciousness?
Yes, except that I believe I am the Spirit of Christos manifest through birth and human host. Whereas there is a consciousness that people can connect with, but they are connecting, say, from Kevin or Jennifer, as Kevin and Jennifer, connecting with God and being Christed in your own ways, where everything I have been taught says that God has manifest through Christos in this earth through me. Now, I've made a peace with people trying not to have, say, this is not a position of superiority, it's a role. It's
Walter?
a role. Yeah.
We have to take a break.
Yeah. It is time for our first commercial break. You are listening to Paraversal Universe. We will be right back with our guest for the next segment.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Son of a...
Hey, son.
Mother...
Son? What are you doing?
Hey, Mom. I'm getting ready to listen to Periscope Uncensored.
By expanding your vocabulary.
Well, it is uncensored.
Son, the uncensored part of Periscope Uncensored is Jax and I getting down to brass tacks with all aspects of the paranormal. There's no fluff on our show.
So, no off-color commentary?
I didn't say that.
Awesome!
Son?
I just hit my head.
Oh boy, I'll go get you an ice pack. Catch Periscope Uncensored Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back from our first commercial break, everyone. This is Paraversal Universe, produced by WBHM Digital Broadcasting, also heard on WCET-FM, Amelia Pisano Productions, and the Rift Radio Network. We're your hosts, Kevin and Jennifer Malek, and we'd like to take a minute and thank everyone who makes Paraversal Universe possible, including graphic art director Lawrence D. Miza, music theme by Matt Stens, announcer Frank Lee, producer and owner at WBHM Kat Hobson, Howie Odell and the Rift family, Michael Vera at WCET-FM, and to Amelia Pisano and Dr. Chuck Kennedy at Amelia Pisano Productions. Thank you all for carrying our content and working together on our behalf and the behalf of our audience everywhere. And of course, a huge thank you to God in heaven, whose strength beyond strength is stronger than all, for granting us this wonderful show and opportunity here to be with you all.
Amen.
And
Amen.
appreciation to all the various platforms we are on, including iTunes, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Twitch, YouTube, Dailymotion, TalkStream Live, TuneIn, Blog Talk, Podbean, Google Play, Mixcloud, and Paranormal Radio Livestream app, which is streamed and restreamed from various other outlets all over the world via the internet. All right. This segment of Paraversal Universe is brought to you by the UFO Wisconsin Research Team, Wisconsin's alternative to MUFON. Okay, back to the show. This is Paraversal Universe, and we are talking to the well-respected shaman and author of Thoughts of Christos and several other books, Walt Christos. Walter, are you still with us?
I am still breathing.
All righty. So, you had brought up a good point about at break about your book, and I like the robot analogy you used so much. Could I ask you to share that with the audience?
We were talking about, because I have many wounds, I can understand and empathize with people who have wounds. So I put together a book, The Thought of Christos, which should help people to cope with internal and external negativity in positive ways. And what I was saying was that my own terrible experience as a childhood usually can motivate people to become terrible people. And they view the world as uncaring, and therefore everyone can be a target. And that healthy people don't relate to that. They've gone from a good environment to a good job, and it's happy, and everything's good for them. So the thought of Christos is to help the people who have the wounds. But if they repeat the pattern, if they become just a broken robot, per se, then often they won't even bother to, say, take a look at that book, which could help them because it gives all the nuts and bolts of how to do it. So the flip side is that the book is for the rest of the people who have to cope with the broken robots, to give them some understanding.
And The Thought of Christos is, isn't that your best-selling book?
Yes. It's what I consider to be my best book. I have a fictional stage play that might be becoming my best-selling book, but The Thought of Christos is the book that I recommend to people if they were only going to read one of my books. That would be the one. It is serious reading. It is not necessarily easy reading, and it requires some thought. And each chapter is built on information that has been previously given. But there are topics in the table of contents so that if people have a particular focus, they can look at that topic and read it as a standalone chapter. But my advice is to read it from the start to the end, because you'll get more from it.
You know, we have the book here. In The Thought of Christos, I like the way, like you mentioned, you have the table of contents at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really cool. We've seen other, you don't see it too often.
It's a good place to put a table of contents.
Right.
I mean, I